Score at Anfield after a 0-0 draw in Budapest. The semi-final brought together the English and Scottish cup holders. Jock Stein's Celtic beat Shankly's men in the first leg in Glasgow thanks to this goal by Bobby Lennox. For the second leg, Celtic brought a huge army of supporters south, not all of them well behaved, and it took Liverpool over an hour to level the aggregate through Tommy Smith. Then the hobbling Jeff Strong became a hero.
Strong the goal, and the cripple had scored.
Strong was only in the side because Hunt was injured, but he put Liverpool through with that headed goal, which remains part of Anfield folklore. It earned the club their first European final.
European Cup Winners' Cup final played tonight at Hampden Park, Glasgow, but a Hampden Park, Glasgow which is being drenched in torrential rain which has been falling for hours, and rain which has, I'm afraid, cut down what might be called the casual gait. But there is no lack of red and white. 20,000 people have come from Liverpool and the old familiar sights. Liverpool on the left, and there's a Liverpool team in the 4-3-3 formation. Callahan, number 7, a passage from the midfield role to the forward role. The same team that played last Saturday when Liverpool clinched the championship of the First Division. Liverpool, though, they are piling on the pressure, not making the mistake of too many of them coming up, leaving themselves open to the quick counter-attack. Now Smith to Milne. Oh, that was well read by Assad. Now held. Emmerich. And a beautiful throw by Held. And that was the Liverpool defense hit by this quick counter-attack. And after 17 minutes of the second half, Held has scored for Borussia Dortmund. Now, Milne coming up again, but Borussia Dortmund tackle as hard and as accurately and as keenly as any English side. This is number 11, Thompson. The linesman is flagged. The linesman is flagged. The referee's got the goal. And the linesman's put his flag down. And it's an equalizer by Hunt. Smith, and is that long one to Hill? That's the dangerous one. A goal! Oh, it's a goal by Liverpool. It's a goal by Liverpool.
It was a cruel blow to lose a European final in extra time, especially hard on captain Ron Yates, whose valiant attempt to cut out the winning goal failed when Libuda's shot came back off the post, rebounded off Yates' leg and then into the net. The captain's consolation lay in leading Liverpool to another championship, putting them back in the European Cup. There were shades of Cologne when they took 3 matches to beat the Romanian champions. Ian Callaghan, who played a record 88 European games for Liverpool, was a scorer here. Then came the worst defeat suffered by Liverpool in nearly 150 European games. In fog-bound Amsterdam, they came up against an emerging Dutch team who would soon carry all before them in the European Cup. But in 1966, as they rattled in the goals against a mystified Liverpool defence, Ajax and Johan Cruyff had yet to take centre stage. Their modern attacking style had Liverpool chasing what shadows they could find in the mist. Although Shankly refused to accept that Liverpool were outclassed, they were 4 goals down at half-time and had obviously been taken completely by surprise.
I remember that we were delighted to get Ajax because they were supposed to be the weakest team. So we had this draw with Ajax, which we thought, great, you know, we'll get through this one. And we got hammered 5-1 in Holland when it was the game was like in danger of being called off. And they just, every time they seemed to go down the pitch, they seemed to score.
In the last minute, Chris Lawler scored for Liverpool to make it 5-1, prompting Shankly to say it's not over yet. 54,000 fans believed him, but they reckoned without a man called Cruyff.
I don't think we realised just how good he was, or they were, till they played at Anfield, because even though it was 5-1, we're fully convinced that we could beat them by that margin at Anfield. I was dead confident that we would win at Anfield, and it was there again terrific atmosphere. But he scored 2, and it was 2 each at Anfield.
It would be 10 years before Liverpool won the European Cup. For now, it was the Fairs Cup.
Haitley just couldn't grow enough for that. It's Callaghan. Awkward one again. It's a good goal. Scored by Ron Yates. Hunt to Yates. Haitley to Hunt. Hunt again.
Liverpool also won in Sweden, and in the next round completely wiped out the Germans TSV Munich, who were demolished 8-0 at Anfield. But as winter set in, a shock awaited Liverpool. Ferencváros of Hungary beat them twice, applauded off after becoming the first European team to win at Anfield. In the following season's Fairs Cup, Bilbao put Liverpool out in the first round. Goals by Lawler and Emlyn Hughes squared the aggregate, but this time Liverpool lost the toss. In 1969-70, Dundalk goalkeeper Maurice Swan was beaten 14 times by Liverpool, who then found themselves 3-0 down on aggregate to Vitória Setúbal. A Tommy Smith penalty, an Alan Evans strike, and a last-minute equaliser by Roger Hunt made the aggregate 3-3.
We managed to get 2 back, and then near the end I got what we thought was the winning goal. But that was the score at the final whistle, and everyone was waiting for extra time or hanging around not knowing what to do. And in fact, they'd won on away goals, but we were unaware of the situation, and the crowd were unaware. So there had to be an announcement before the crowd would leave. But we thought they would play extra time or before they actually the away goals came into operation. But there was no extra time. So we beat them 3-2, but lost the tie.
It was Hunt's last European game. The following year, Bobby Graham's goal brought revenge against Ferencváros. Then, left-back Alec Lindsay, his raiding partner Lawler, and Liverpool's ebullient number 6, Emlyn Hughes, all scored against Dinamo Bucharest, earning Liverpool a third-round tie against Hibernian. The first leg in Edinburgh spotlighted new forwards around whom Shankly was rebuilding.
Everybody for a moment then, other than Baines, in the Liverpool half. Look at that speed by Highway. It's got Toshak there. Toshak!
John Toshak had arrived from Cardiff for £110,000, but the man who made the goal, graduate Steve Highway, stunned everybody with his pace.
He's got Hansen beaten almost every time. Evans. 1-0. And this West German defence under constant pressure. Lawler, Evans! Highway going for the line. And that was deflected slightly by a defender. Roth in trouble. Hughes. Three goals tonight for Alan Evans. Liverpool lead by 3 goals to 0.
Which meant a semi-final against Leeds and defeat for Liverpool.
That was Giles. Brenda! Yes! And that's the sucker punch. They've done it. And the crowd at Liverpool are absolutely stunned.
Back in the Cup Winners' Cup in 1971-72, Liverpool beat Servette Geneva, then went out to the team they'd beaten the previous year, Bayern Munich. But success was coming closer. Eintracht Frankfurt were Liverpool's first UEFA Cup victims in 1972-73. The Greeks from Athens followed. Then two East German teams succumbed to Shankly's new-look side. First, Dynamo Berlin, 0-0 in East Germany, 3-1 to Liverpool at Anfield. Then, Dynamo Dresden, with Kevin Keegan scoring his second European goal. In the semi-final, it was Liverpool versus Spurs. Lindsay scored at Anfield, and Liverpool won eventually on away goals. The first leg of the final was abandoned at Anfield after 27 minutes of a downpour. The following night, Shankly restored Toshak to the attack.
Toshak, Keegan, 1-0.
Hughes. Hooks. Toshak. Keegan. 2-0. Floated high, Lloyd. 3-0. A supreme save by Clements.
That penalty save by Ray Clements became doubly important when the second leg took place in Germany. Liverpool's lead was made to look fragile by a Borussia Mönchengladbach side inspired by Gunter Netzer, their captain, and the West German international who had orchestrated his country's European Championship victory a year earlier. A year later, West Germany would win the World Cup. Their football was crafty and cohesive, and when Jupp Heynckes scored early in the game for Borussia, their coach Hennes Weisweiler urged them to keep up the momentum. As for Liverpool, who'd actually brought the UEFA trophy with them on the plane from England, because Spurs had held it for the past 12 months, it looked as though they may be going back to Merseyside without it. The Germans continued to attack, and before half-time, Heynckes scored again. That made the aggregate 3-2. But Shankly gave a typically defiant half-time team talk, and Liverpool controlled the second half as the Germans tired. The Reds had their hands on their first European trophy. The celebrations which followed marked the start of an unprecedented period of success for Liverpool. That same season, Shankly's team also lifted the First Division Championship for the first time in 7 years. That put them back in the European Cup. A goal by Brian Hall spared Liverpool's blushes against Jeunesse Desch of Luxembourg, but it was Red Star Belgrade who taught Liverpool a football lesson. The tactics of Miljan Miljanic and the thrust of Dragan Djajic proved decisive home and away. In the first leg in Belgrade, Liverpool in white shirts went 2 goals down to 2 deadly pieces of finishing. From Jankovic in the first half, and then in the second half from Bogacevic, who beat the offside trap to score with an unstoppable volley. Late in the game, the remarkable Lawler, scorer of 11 European goals for Liverpool from fullback, gave them hope. But although he scored again at Anfield, the second leg also ended 2-1 to Red Star. The summer of 1974 marked the retirement of Bill Shankly, the man whose inspiration moulded Liverpool's European presence. Bob Paisley, his successor, added tactical wisdom which would win the European Cup. But first, he approached the Cup Winners' Cup, and on Paisley's European debut as manager, Liverpool produced their record score, 11 goals against the bewildered Strømsgodset Drammen. Ironically, Liverpool managed only 1 more in Norway, but that came from the last player Shankly signed and the first one Paisley really influenced, Ray Kennedy, who he converted into a midfield player. But Liverpool was still susceptible to the continental counter-attack.
Brian Hall. Keegan wanting someone to make a move for him. Nobody is. Now here's Hall. Got 4 to find. Kennedy! Keegan! Kellerman. Mate. Pushtoy going into the middle. Still Mate. And what a signal for Liverpool.
When the second leg in Budapest was drawn 0-0, that away goal at Anfield put the Hungarians through.